bringing you the news 24 hours a day, 7 days per week, with a fresh approach. www.999wefm.com. WeFM News, online, on demand.
Good afternoon and welcome to WEFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited.
Switch to a Ready Cash loan today. Bring your loan to us and get 25% off your interest rate. Get flexible payment terms, fast approval, and hassle-free service, so you can do all the important things you need with ease. All you need is your ID, proof of address, payslip, job letter, and 2 references. Visit us in-store or apply online at www.shopcourts.com. Courts Ready Cash. We are ready when you are. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to WeFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited. I am your presenter, Rajiv Providence. First, on the local scene, Minister of Education and National Reconciliation Curtis King has expressed disappointment with the work done by the contractor responsible for the rehabilitation work taking place at the Girls High School. Minister King, just before, had commended the contractor responsible for the work on the St. Vincent Boys Grammar School, but said that the same commendation could not be extended to the Girls High School's contractor. We hear more from Minister King.
It was about the grammar school. I don't have so good news about the Girls High School. And I say it honestly and frankly. I can't commend the contractor in the same way that I could do for the grammar school case. The Girls High School, it is a concern to us because I took pictures before I leave and I took pictures after. I went there Saturday and I've not seen any significant advancement in that project. And we I don't know, but we have to, one way or the other, take a serious decision.
That was the Minister of Education, Curtis King, speaking on WeFM's Issue at Hand program. Earlier this year, it was announced that the Girls High School will have to remain at its temporary location at Annisville longer than expected, as its Richmond Hill campus was in a worse state than initially thought, and a further $6 million, 3 times the original estimate, may be needed to complete the repairs. St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be represented at an international archery competition for the first time in history. The Archery Association of St. Vincent and the Grenadines says that 6 archers and 1 coach are set to compete at the upcoming 5th Annual Caribbean Development Championship (CDC), set to be held in Trinidad and Tobago from September 29th to October 1st, 2023. The current team of archers will compete in 4 different categories. The national archery team is as follows: Ian Gibson, Senior Men's; Richard Richards, Senior Women's; Maurice Bergen, Senior Women's; Mariel Bergen, Senior Women's; Jared Nichols, Under 21 Men's; Divya Jandani, Under 18 Women's; Sanjay Jindani, Head Coach. The team will leave SVG on Wednesday, September 27th, 2023, and return on Monday, October 2nd, 2023. St. Vincent and the Grenadines' tourism industry is recovering well despite challenges brought on by the 2021 La Soufrière eruption and COVID-19 pandemic. This has been seen in the tourist arrivals to the country, according to Minister of Tourism Carlos James. We hear more from Minister James.
For the period January to May, we have seen increased arrivals from our major source markets. From the US, we are up 36.5%. From Canada, we are over 100%, 117%. And partly one of the reasons we had seen the return of our flights, Air Canada flights. And again, they will return at the opening of the winter season. And of course, from Europe, we are up just over 19% in comparison to that period. This same period, January to May of last year.
That was the Minister of Tourism, Carlos James. Minister James said that total stayover arrivals are up by 46% during that period when compared to last year. He said that the number of visitors from the United States of America had already exceeded 2019's figures. On to news in the region. The Eastern Caribbean island of Barbados has reiterated its call for the reform of the international financial system. This call came via the nation's Prime Minister Mia Motley, who indicated that the call for financial reform is really not about governance. According to Loop News, Motley, who has been championing the Bridgetown initiative that is aimed at reforming the way rich countries finance poor countries in a climate crisis, said our situation has been compounded by the COVID 19 pandemic, and therefore that long term money is critical. Prime Minister Motley, who under the Bridgetown initiative has noted that rich countries are able to borrow at interest rates of between 1 and 4%, while it's around 14% for poorer countries, said developing countries like Barbados need what she termed missionary oriented lending. The Caribbean Community CARICOM has restated its position of support for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). The 15-member grouping maintains this support despite concerns it has expressed about some of the hindrances faced in achieving the UN mandate by 2030. Dominica's President Charles Savarin, speaking at the SDG Summit at the United Nations, said CARICOM's position on the path towards achieving the SDGs has been clearly outlined in several debates and intergovernmental negotiations under the auspices of the United Nations. Savarin said that CARICOM endorses the political declaration set out by the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in a renewed call for all member states to recommit towards this transformative process. He said that CARICOM is therefore calling for urgent action from the international community to reform the international financial architecture and ensure an enabling environment for developing countries to actively participate in and benefit from the global economy. On the international scene, 8 people are now dead following the crash of a Kenyan military helicopter near the Somalia border. The Department of Defense said the Air Force helicopter crashed while on night patrol. The cause of the crash in the country of Lamu was not immediately clear. Kenyan Defense Forces operate in the area to help deter the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab group based across the border in Somalia. Kenyan troops are also in Somalia under the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia to help in fighting Al-Shabaab. The Kenyan forces deployed to Somalia in 2011, but there are no plans to withdraw the multinational forces as Somali troops take over responsibility for their country's security, Al Jazeera reports. Al-Shabaab has increased attacks in Kenya in recent months, killing dozens of people in the border region as the rebels feel pressure from a Somali military offensive launched last year after the election of Hassan Sheikh Mohammed as president in May. Finally, in sports, Great Britain will face off against Serbia in the quarterfinals of the Davis Cup in Malaga. The knockout stage of the competition, which Great Britain last won in 2015, will be played between November 21st and 26th. Serbia's Novak Djokovic, who won with the nation in 2010, says the competition is his top priority for the rest of the season. The Davis Cup is the premier international team event in men's tennis. It is run by the International Tennis Federation and is contested annually between teams from over 140 competing countries. It is described by the organizers as the World Cup of Tennis, and the winners are referred to as the World Champions. This has been WEFM's Midday News. I have been your presenter, Rajiv Providence. Join us again at 3 p.m. for WEFM's 3 p.m. News. WEFM's Midday News is brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited.
Vivid by Quartz Optical. Schedule your free eye exam today and get up to 50% off credit purchases. You heard right. Up to 50% off select credit purchases or 25% off cash purchases. What are you waiting for? Buy that frame today with no cash and pay later. Book your appointment online today at quartzoptical.com. Live vivid, see vivid. Only at Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
Quartz Optical, value you can see. It's 12:26 here in SVG and across the Eastern Caribbean. Of course, coming up at 12:30. Join us for Viewpoint. Of course, Viewpoint comes to you right here on WEFM 12:30 weekdays. So join us for that commentary. And at 12:45, the obituaries. At 12:55, we'll have the local weather report. And from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, it's Midday Vibes right here on WEFM.
Me we do the thing them when you want me for do. Baby, tell me what you want me for do. What you want me for do. You know me love you like my life. Call me a rib, but call me every day your side.